All right, 99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You guys already know what time it is. And right here, we are joined by Toronto, Ontario, Canada's own. That's right, this individual is a phenomenal drummer. He's from our neck of the woods. We got the one and only, the phenomenal Keith Heppler right here, live on the radio station Airways. Keith, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Oh, man, doing best I can possibly be, man. I gotta say, it's such an honor to speak with Canada's finest, man. Honestly, you are one of the best drummers to actually grace this nation, man. So thank you so much for a bit of your time here this evening. It's an honor.
Thanks, man. Yeah, you're too kind.
But I gotta take you back to the beginning of your amazing career this far, man. And I have to ask, like, what actually inspired you to pursue a career within the music industry initially? Like, what originally sparked your passion for the drum kit?
I had a cousin that played the drums, and I'd go over. He was maybe 10 years older than me. I'd go over to his house, and he'd have the drum set up, and I was so fascinated by it. Like, I always thought it was so cool that every drummer could get the same kit and kind of set it up differently. Like at an early age, like everyone would angle their toms a certain way, and their cymbals would be a certain height. And there's something with the mechanics of it that just really fascinated me. And he'd sort of show me something, and I was terrible right away, but I really, really liked it. So I just kind of kept at it. And through years and years and years of begging my parents, when I was about 11 years old, they finally got me a drum set.
And let me ask, man, what was the very first drum set that you actually got, man? Like, do you remember the actual like brand of kit?
Yeah, it was an old 70s Sonar kit in like this really weird turquoise finish. I loved it. I was looking back, it was super ugly, but like it was mine, and I wanted a drum set for so long, and to actually have one was like the best thing ever.
And that's actually a great brand as well, man, from what I heard. So at the end of the day, even if it's like ugly and had some weird colors on it, man, it definitely did the trick.
Yeah, totally. I mean, they were hollowed out logs. They made noise. They did everything I wanted them to do.
And you were also the previous drummer for the band Secret Broadcast. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a story behind Secret Broadcast. And of course, how did you actually originally get connected with the other members and of course, become the drummer of that band?
Remember MySpace?
I remember those days very, very well, man. I wish we can go back to MySpace days, man. Phenomenal.
Yeah, so if I remember it correctly, I was playing with some bands, but I wasn't really happy, and I wanted to sort of like level up. And I found them on MySpace, and they had a photo up of them opening for Metric at like a big theater. And I remember hearing they were looking for a drummer, and I didn't even like listen to. I was young. I didn't even listen to their music. I was like, well, if they're playing these shows, this is the band I want to be in. So they were originally from Calgary, and they won a radio station contest out there. And the singer relocated to Toronto, but I don't think the other two original members wanted to make the move. So he was kind of looking to like build the band back up. So I sent him a message, and I had some like old videos of me playing with some older like bands I was in way back in the day. And we set up an audition, and I learned the songs, and we jammed, and it just kind of fit. So then shortly after I joined, we recorded an EP. And then shortly after that EP got picked up by E1 Music Canada, and I did 3 albums with Secret Broadcast through E1. It was awesome.
And speaking of that EP, that actually dropped April 8th of 2014. It was an album called Filthy Souls, and I actually read that it was produced by former Nirvana and Soundgarden producer Adam Casper. I was wondering if you can actually just from what you can recall, man, because obviously this is obviously going back at least 10 years. What was it like just working in the studio alongside Adam and just, getting to pick his brain, because obviously he had the opportunity to work with Foo Fighters as well, Nirvana, Soundgarden, so many amazing bands. So he definitely had a lot of knowledge in the studio.
Yeah, he was great. He was a lot more laid back than you might think. Some producers are really heavy-handed. They really want to like tear apart the song and tear apart your parts. He was pretty relaxed. He worked really, really quickly. worked like he was really good at getting like good room sounds. He was really nice and really down to earth. Kind of chummed up to him. We were there for a month. We were at Robert Lang Studios in Seattle, which I think is best known for where like the Foo Fighters did their first record. And they had an apartment above it, and so we lived there for like I think it was 5 weeks. But the thing about drums is you do them first, right? So as you're building recordings, the drums happen first, and I think I did all 13 or 14 songs in like 4 days. So then I was done. So then I just kind of hung out. I'd go to like with the interns and like do a guitar center run and stuff. Like I tried to be present for making most of the record, but if you're spending like 3 or 4 hours a day dialing in guitar sounds, you get kind of tired pretty quick. But he was awesome. He was so nice and so down to earth, and he told me a couple of really cool stories, from working with Nirvana and stuff like that. And it was a once in a life opportunity that I'm super grateful for, and I'm really proud of that record.
And also as well, before we move off the topic of your secret broadcast days, also during those times you were actually endorsed by Silver Fox Drumsticks out here in Canada. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about that endorsement. And of course, what was it like just working with Silver Fox during that time?
You've done your research. That came a little bit later. So from playing in secret broadcast, I was able to join a band called Die Mannequin, which was a band I was actually a big fan of. And it was sort of another level for me. I was able to do like some international touring, a lot of touring in Canada, and like we got on some pretty big support slots. So a couple friends of mine were playing Silver Fox, and I just reached out to Gabe, the rep, and I sort of sent him my tour dates and like what I was up to. And then when I got in between two tours, like between getting home from one tour and leaving for another, we met up at a Starbucks and just kind of shot the shit. And he hooked me up with an endorsement, and I was playing with them. I played Silver Fox until they went out of business. And they're great. They were the most durable sticks I've ever had. Like they just would not break even if you tried. They were great.
And I gotta say, I've been to a lot of punk rock concerts. Obviously, I'm not a drummer. I'm just a DJ. But I've seen so many sticks break just by being at shows and attending shows. So it's always great. I'm assuming it's always great when you're a drummer and you have sticks that don't break mid-set, man. So definitely, I was going to say we definitely need Silver Fox back.
Yeah, they were great. And especially if you hit as hard as I do, which is just ridiculously hard. You really need a stick that you can count on, because there's nothing worse, especially if you're playing like a fast song. The stick breaks, you don't have time to grab another one. But they were great. It was a really positive experience. It was the first endorsement, and then through that, I got endorsed by a cymbal company called Media, and I played them for a couple of years, and it was all great. It's really, really great companies, really great products.
And also as well, you actually had the opportunity to play for a band called Hot Lips. And the one thing that I've actually read about that for some time, this electro grunge band actually did not have a guitar player in the band. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about that ordeal and what actually made you guys decide to take the guitar player actually out of the concept of a band.
You ever met a guitar player? That's why. So Hot Lips came. I was still playing with Secret Broadcast. Die Mannequin was kind of winding down. It wasn't nearly as full time, and I was looking to do something differently. And I met Carly, who is the singer-songwriter. She's also a drummer, and her and I decided to put the band together. And we met. I knew Alex. Alex was a tour manager and guitar tech for Die Mannequin, and him and I had kind of been roommates on the road, and kind of gotten to know each other over this one tour of Canada. I really liked him. So we kind of just had this idea. I remember, forget which one, there was a Yeah Yeah Yeahs album that had, their whole thing was they had no guitar. And we really just wanted to do something different. We didn't want to be like another blues-based rock band. So we were like, how about we just don't have a guitar player? And Alex had and still does have a really unique sound where he splits a signal, and he really can fill out the sound. So we just wanted to do something unique and something different. We're all fans of like electronic music, but we also wanted to sort of add like a punk element to it. So over like I don't know, we rehearsed for about a year. Then we started playing shows. Then we started playing a lot of shows, and I was doing that pretty full time until the pandemic. At which time, like kind of like we were sort of we were about to leave for a tour in sort of March of 2020, and then it all kind of fell apart, and things changed, and then we broke up, and then Alex and I started Highteens, which is so it's the bass player of Hot Lips and myself and Zach, and that's the newest project I've been doing.
And honestly, speaking of the Highteens, you three have such phenomenal chemistry. Definitely love what you guys are doing. And the one project that I've been really vibing to since we actually got connected was that dropped June 19th, so this summer of 2023, where you actually this album, Bad Broken Thing Story, actually was
yeah.
I gotta say, such a phenomenal record, man. And I know it was actually produced by a Grammy-nominated producer as well. I was wondering if you could tell us not just about this phenomenal record, but of course, just working alongside Grammy-nominated Ryan McCambridge.
Yeah. Wow. You've done your research. That's amazing. So, when Hot Lips kind of broke up, Alex, like we all kind of took a little bit of time. We had spent so much time with each other, and we're all still cool. Like we just went to Carly's wedding. I think I'm going to be doing some shows, playing drums for Carly's new project. It just kind of burnt out, right? So we all took some time away from each other, and Carly wanted to step away from being in a band for a while, and Alex and I still want to keep going. So then we started demoing some songs, and we're like, well, I guess we got to audition a singer. So because of technology, you used to have to like get in a room with people, right? And like, jam. Where we were just sending people these guitarless, vocalist songs and be like, what do you have? And Zach was head over heels better than anyone we got. And we jammed and it clicked. And then we started writing songs, and really, really quickly, we were able to get through some connections that we had a grant to make the record. And we're like, oh man, now we got to make an EP. I knew Ryan since I was like 19 or 18 years old, playing in a band called In Transit, and his old band Recovery Child and my band, we used to play shows together. And we just lived in the same neighborhood, and I'd occasionally run into him. And I forget how we actually got connected, but I think we were just jamming or something. And he was like, what are you working on? And I played him a demo of Highteens, and he was like, oh, I'd like to work on this. I was like, really? Like, that'd be great. And then when the grant came through, we booked some studio time, and he was great. Like, I was saying Adam Casper was a little bit more hands off. Ryan was really hands on, which is what we were such a young band, even though we'd all been doing it for a while. Like, our band was young, and we really kind of needed like a coach. And he was great. He really helped us like establish our sound, and he was super great in the studio, really helpful, very detail oriented, and like a lot of the stuff he taught us, even like now, and the stuff we're working on now, we still like always kind of ask, oh, like, would Ryan like this? Would Ryan be cool with this? So he really made a mark on us.
And also as well, with this album, where can we actually buy or stream it today? Like, is there any hard copies available of it as well, or is it just strictly digital at this current time?
It's all digital. I think you can buy it on Bandcamp, but things have changed a lot, and being a new band, things are a lot more expensive lately. We're not signed. We have no real backing or funding. We just opted, and Hot Lips did this too. We just opted to just release everything digitally. I don't even know if I could play a CD if someone gave it to me. Like right now, I don't think I have anywhere in my apartment that I could physically actually play a CD. As much as I love like holding something in my hands and like having a tangible product, we just kind of opted to just release it all digitally.
And also as well, your other second current project is actually where you actually became the brand new drummer for Toronto, Ontario's own CJ Sleez. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about that story. And of course, how did you actually get connected with CJ, because honestly, such a phenomenal, talented individual. Honestly, she's been doing her thing for so many years, man. So you definitely another phenomenal gig you got going on there.
CJ's great. I was so because Highteens is so new. I was used to being a lot busier with Hot Lips and Die Mannequin Secret Broadcast. They were pretty full time. But because we were new and it's post pandemic, I was finding myself like a lot of downtime. So I'm always like kind of looking around, seeing what's out there, and I saw CJ Sleez and a lot of members of CJ. Like she's part of that whole same scene that Die Mannequin was part of. And when I was younger and I would like come to Toronto, I saw her play a couple times, and I'm a huge punk rock fan. And she really kind of embodied all of that. And I was like, oh shit, CJ's still around. So I just reached out to her and I was like, hey, I played in these bands. I think these bands have played with you. And she's like, oh yeah, I've seen you play. Come down for an audition. So I learned the songs. I went down an audition and it just kind of clicked. And she's great. She's awesome. I have such a good time playing in that band.
And I gotta say, like, definitely, this a discography this band has is absolutely phenomenal. Dates back all the way to the early 2000s. So many legendary projects as well. And I do know, speaking of legendary, you guys actually just lined up another show as well, Thursday, March 28th, out there in Hamilton. I think we actually have the drummer of CJ Sleez actually on the radio station. I have to ask, because obviously Hamilton's only about a 4-hour drive away from our town of Prescott, Ontario. So individuals that are listening or watching right now, what can they actually expect from this up-and-coming spring concert? And of course, where can we actually snag ourselves some tickets, if they are indeed actually available right now?
I'm not sure. I'm like this playing with CJ is great because I'm just the drummer. With Hot Lips and Highteens, and I've been a little bit more involved in like the booking and managing of the band. And then another thing that attracted me to CJ was like, I just get to play the drums. So we were hurt. It's funny that you know that. I only found out really that she was confirmed like today online. She asked me if I was free when we rehearsed last week, and I was like, yeah, totally. Like I'll play. And so I'm not sure we can get tickets. I know it's at the Casbah in Hamilton, which is like a great place to play there. We're playing with some cool. She's told me it's like a really old fashioned kind of punk show. It's like 5 bands. Everyone's going to share gear. It's going to run late, and we're all going to drink like shitty beer and just have a good time.
It definitely sounds like a hell of a good time, man. Like shitty beer, you don't have to lug all your equipment. I mean, at the end of the day, that sounds like a pretty damn good gig.
Yeah, why not?
But I have to ask, man, because obviously, you got your thing, amazing stuff going on, not only with CJ Sleez, but of course the Highteens. What is next for yourself, Keith Heppler, as a drummer? Like, is there anything we happen to miss during this evening's interview? Anything else you do still want to touch on, talk about, or promote? Well, we still got you here live on the radio station airwaves.
Highteens is doing a bunch of shows across Southern Ontario. We're kind of booked until the spring. You can find us on our Instagram, which I think is just Instagram /Highteens band. There's no other band called Highteens, so if you search it, you can find our tour dates. I don't think we've released them all. I'll be doing stuff with CJ, and like I said, I'll be. I think I'm gonna be playing drums for Carly from Hot Lips' solo project called The Lady Machete. Should be doing some shows with her coming up. And I'm always just kind of picking up little things here and there along the way. I just played a show with JC Sandoval, who is the guitar player in Secret Broadcast and Die Mannequin. He sort of did his first show back post-pandemic at the Rivoli. And I was lucky enough for him to ask me to come play that. So I'm always playing. And Highteens we're just wrapping up a new record. So we're just mixing it right now, and we're hoping to have it out and start promoting it and pushing it come like spring, summer.
And I gotta say, as a Highteens fan, I love what you guys are doing, so I'm super stoked just to hear this record when it does come out. And it definitely sounds like a spring summer record is definitely in time for that summer season, man, to actually roll down your windows, turn on Spotify, and crank that right up and let the whole world
Yeah.
enjoy it with you.
I'm really excited because that first record kind of happened so fast, and I think with the new stuff we're about to release, we really kind of found our sound, and we got a little bit weirder with it, a little bit more post rocky. We've all been listening to stuff like Explosions in the Sky, Amusement Parks on Fire, a little bit of like Annual Notice by the Trail of Dead. It's a little less radio, but I feel it's like a way better representation of like we kind of really found ourselves, like we really found who we are as a band. I just rehearsed with them like earlier tonight. We're playing on Saturday, the last show of the year at Handlebar in Kensington and Toronto, and then we're back. Man, I should have written all this down. But we'll be back in Toronto in January, and then we're in Hamilton, all over Southern Ontario.
And Keith, I do know a few moments ago you actually just you gave the social media handles for this amazing band, but I have to ask, like, how can individuals actually follow you, Keith Heppler, the drummer, across all social media platforms if we're not already doing so?
If you want to watch me playing drums and pictures of my cats, you can. It's a roto_tom_tom. Like, remember Roto Toms from the 80s? I don't know if you're familiar with those. Yeah. Terrible drums. Roto Tom, Keith Heppler. I'm sure it'd pop up. I can't imagine anyone else has like an Instagram handle that's stupid.
But I gotta say, first and foremost, Keith, thank you so much, man, for giving not only myself, but the radio station airways a bit of your time, man. It was such an honor speaking with you. Hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon. But for now, definitely have yourself a phenomenal night, man. I'm definitely looking forward to the new Highteens music when it does actually drop to the general public next year.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. This is great. I'm always down to talk drums and music, so this has been a really good way to cap off the evening.
Hey, man, you are most certainly welcome. And, of course, shout out to CJ Sleez as well for just, getting us connected and coordinating this and actually making it possible. So definitely shout out to her as well.
She's the best. She just told me that she was thinking about recording a Gigi Allen cover. So, like, I'm hoping that happens. That'd be awesome.
I think that would be actually pretty killer. So I really hope that now that it's out there, she might just be like, "Damn, it's been announced on the radio, so we have to do it."
Now she has to.
Kind of elbowing her a little bit. Come on, do it. Yeah, you have to do it now.
Let's go.
But definitely, Keith, thank you so much, man. We definitely shall talk here soon, man. And definitely, of course, have yourself a killer week as well, man.
You too, man. Thanks so much.